Long before the novelty of the character had worn off with films such as Ernest in the Army, Ernest Goes to Africa, Slam Dunk Ernest, Ernest Goes to School, and Ernest Rides Again, Jim Varney was a favorite character actor of mine. Now, maybe character actor isn't exactly the best word to use in his case, but that's what I'm gonna say, so. That's because I only ever knew him really as Ernest P. Worrell, and the 4 movies he made based around that character before the others listed still stand today as defining movies of my childhood. Now, in time, I'd like to get around to looking at all of them. Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to Jail, but today, we gotta start with Ernest Saves Christmas.
Tis the season to be jolly.
My first question is this: why is this not considered a holiday classic? And what I mean by that is, sure, a lot of people like this movie, but when you go to a store, or at least any of the stores around here that I go to, you always see The Grinch, you see Frosty, you see Christmas Vacation, sometimes you see Die Hard, you definitely see Home Alone. There's these cultured, expected Christmas movies. Why is this movie never there? Why is it never on the shelf? I mean, realistically, I guess it's out of production or something. I've not seen a DVD, much less a Blu-ray copy of this fucking movie, unless it was in a 3-pack, and no, as a matter of fact, it's not. I have an Ernest 3-pack on DVD, and the Christmas movie's not in there. I'm guessing this is probably owned by a different company. I don't know if I'll look that shit up or not, but my point is, it's just strange to me that this movie never really seems to be a focus of Christmas, when it's pretty good. And I think the reason is because not even 2 years later, friggin' Home Alone came out, and the rest is history. Ernest Saves Christmas is a fantastic movie, and one worth watching every holiday season, and today, I'm gonna remind you why. Now, we open in Orlando, where we find Santa Claus himself arriving in town by plane. I'm not just saying that he's Santa Claus, he drops every possible hint to us that he is.
Where you from?
Up north.
And just for good measure.
What line of work you in?
Toys.
At least 2 minutes in, they're clearly laying out things for us. They're not trying to waste my time and make me guess and figure a bunch of shit out, which I don't think would work in this kind of movie.
You here on business?
Oh, I'm here to appoint a replacement, someone to take over my duties.
You know, in fact, the plot line is quite nicely laid out fairly quickly by Santa himself as he talks to whoever the hell this dude is in the business suit.
A person with the right qualifications is difficult to find.
So that's your basic plot. Santa's getting too old for the job. He's got to pass this tradition on to someone else.
I don't think I've quite got the magic for another trip.
The only thing he didn't count on was a bumbling nincompoop named Ernest P. Worrell to kind of get in the way while trying to help. Oh, and if you're still not convinced that he's Santa Claus, let's really drive that nail into the coffin. Look, seriously though, this bag fascinated me, and if you've seen this movie, you probably know why. If not, you'll see why later. Now, we next meet Ernest driving a passenger in his taxi cab and singing Christmas songs.
Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree.
I already love the guy, and even though this entire scene doesn't really advance the plot in any meaningful way...
Hey, buddy, hurry up, I gotta get to the airport!
It's exactly what you'd expect from an Ernest movie in 1988.
Oh, don't worry, mister. We'll make that plane.
You know, I thought I would hate this a lot more coming into it than I did then, and feel like it would detract from the movie, but...
I have an almost supernatural feel for the road beneath my tires.
I don't know, it kind of works.
Thrill driver!
Even if it's just because of nostalgia.
And in car number 9, it's Ernest P. Worrell, the screaming demon.
No, it's Jim Varney. You know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
It may not be that everything he says is hilarious.
Going for a second track record tonight.
It's just his commitment to his characters is so admirable, and he really took it seriously, even when he was being goofy. Anyway, this man is in a hurry, and what follows is just typical slapstick. Ernest ends up driving so erratically that the man is frozen in fear and thrown free of the cab, where Ernest has to rescue him. Now, meanwhile, Santa is being checked into the airport and keeping no secrets about his identity.
Sure. Why not?
Now, what we're leading to is fairly obvious, but it's still kind of fun being taken there in its dated joke glory. Ernest drives like a maniac to get the man to the airport in time, and once there, he ends up getting Santa Claus as his next fare. I love that too, because 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all it took for us to set this thing in motion. We've already got the two main characters together. That's great. And once in the cab, Santa reveals his destination, and off they go. Now, in the next scene, we meet Bobby and Chuck.
I tell you who, we who, that's who.
The next best thing, no, maybe the best thing about this movie, and I don't really know why.
Bobby, if it weren't for us, this airline would never get off the ground. Ain't that right, Bobby?
This scene's setting up smaller scenes throughout the movie, because we find them unloading boxes and we don't really know what's in them. I mean, there's nothing really funny here in this part, but they get funnier, I promise. You see? Now, as Ernest continues to drive Santa to his destination, more hilarity ensues when a Christmas tree falls off of the truck in front of them, and Ernest causes a massive traffic jam and, hell, even a few wrecks in his attempt to rescue it.
You'll notice that I am using my emergency signal indicators when in reverse.
It's not really that funny, but it is funny. It's Jim Varney's delivery. It's the bumbling nonsense he babbles as he's just trying to be a good guy, but being an idiot at the same time. Chuck and Bobby continue to be their own little layer of comic relief in this film, arguing over a letter on a packing slip. And we get a few more hints that something odd is inside of those packages. Now, Santa finally names the man he aims to replace him. We get this Mr. Rogers vibe off of this guy, and we haven't even met him yet, but already you kind of like him.
You don't get rich by doing a once-a-week children's program on local television. You've got to do it for other reasons.
Now, the same can't be said about the next character we meet. God, I think her name is Harmony, but she's just a bad apple, man. The first time we meet her, she's dying and dashing. She's the gotta learn a lesson by the end of the movie and turn her life around throwaway character as far as I'm concerned.
And I swear it won't happen again, so just let me go this time, all right, mister?
You expect me to believe that?
God, I kind of forgot about her.
Just when the check comes in, I'm left there with, like, no money and this stupid look on my face.
You know what, maybe she's the reason that this movie's not a classic.
No, I swear, it's true.
Either way, running from the bill, she's almost hit by Ernest. And when he slams on the brakes to avoid hitting her, she just hops right on in the cab and tells him to...
Go, 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 go!
Now, once inside...
That's my mean uncle.
Yeah, the lies just continue, and I just want to punch her in the mouth, I'm sorry.
He's making me work in that restaurant like a slave.
Now, when they arrive at the Children's Museum, it seems that Santa has mistakenly mixed up real money with play money, and he's unable to pay Ernest the fare. But Ernest...
What we've got here is a failure to accumulate.
Such a good guy, right?
It's on the house. Merry Christmas, old buddy.
Thank you too, old buddy.
Now, finally, inside the Children's Museum, we meet Joe, who is manning a puppet show for the kids.
Uh-oh! What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
See, those Mr. Rogers vibes really are coming through.
Those three little words, please and thank you.
Now, after the show, Santa gets his moment with him, and he begins to explain why he's here.
You are going to be the new...
Excuse me, Pop. This is it, Joey. The hand of fate is reaching out to you.
And then we got this goob. He's some executive named Marty who wants to put Joe in a holiday horror movie. He's the tension, basically, keeping Joe on the edge of the decision throughout this movie, promising him a lucrative career and contracts, money, movies, all that stuff, and probably is incapable of delivering it.
My name is Santa...
Excuse me, Mr. Santos. We're having a conversation. May we continue, please?
Now, unable to get a word in, Santa suddenly remembers his sack. And worried about it, he rushes back to where the car last was. Unfortunately for him, it is long gone.
I must really be slipping.
Now, still safely tucked into the back of Ernest's cab for now, the sack is the least of our worries, because now we find Ernest getting fired from his job.
I've had it with you, Ernest. You're fired.
Damn.
Ernest, it was a dead-end job anyway.
God, Mouth has something to say, as usual.
I mean, it's nowhere working for a guy like that.
At least they get the sack back.
Take this with you.
Look, Chuck and Bobby, they're still up to no good. There is absolutely nothing you can say that would convince me that that ain't funny. Shit's funny. Now, back inside the museum, Santa, Joe, and the old lady are trying to track down Ernest's cab with the executive pacing furiously in the background. I mean, Santa does go on and on like an old man.
He grew up with this guy. I think his name was...
Now, left with Marty, Joe heads off to his appointment, and when Santa drops the ball to Marty about who he really is...
The name is Santa Claus.
Never mind.
I'm pretty sure that's the be right back calling the nut house face. Now, arriving at Ernest's house, where he gushes endlessly about old Vern.
He's my best buddy, and he throws the greatest parties.
Mouth, as usual, has something to say.
Well, I hope he's got something I can eat, and not just a lot of things made out of white sugar and red meat.
God, she really is why no one remembers this damn movie.
You're right as rain, Puddin'.
Now, what follows is the Ernest P. Worrell formula.
Ho, 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 Vern. Merry...
I'm sorry, it's hard to hate on this, even if it's dated. It's a product of its time, and for its time, it was great. I mean, it might go on too long, barely advancing the plot in any meaningful way at times, but
As the twig is bent, so grows the tree.
it's supposed to be a Christmas comedy movie, so
Oh.
there's room for that. Now, Santa, meanwhile, is being placed in the back of a squad car, and you just feel awful for him. Look at his face. Poor old guy.
He got fired.
Oh, God. A lot of mouth.
And instead of calling the cops, Bobo here knocked down the meter.
What follows is a lot of mouth,
Are those bacon cheeseburgers?
a lot of Vern jokes,
After all, Vern, it's Christmas time. It's a time for giving.
but at least the end of the scene transitions nicely into the next one. Now, Santa is booked, continuing to profess his innocence, and no one believes him, of course, even with the evidence right in front of him.
I never saw anything like this before.
Never seen anything like this before. Think I'll just file it and stick it in a drawer. Never talk about it again. So Joe does his read for the part, and everyone seems to like him, but as Marty tries to keep him focused on becoming a star, all good old Joe cares about is that poor old man.
Did he ever find his sack or whatever it was?
Yeah, taken care of.
Now, we cut back to Ernest, and I started squirming in my chair because I was like, oh God, not another 5 minutes of hey, Vern. But when Ernest heads out to the truck for some proper tools, curiosity gets the better of him. See, that's the first scene that drove me mad as a kid. I wanted to know what the hell he saw in that sack.
He's him.
I still want to know. Now, back on the road, for once, Mouth is making some sense over here, arguing against the idea that this dude could possibly be Santa Claus.
It just doesn't quite correspond with the laws of time and travel.
That's okay, Ernest has a formula that I'm sure he's put a lot of work into.
You take the international date line, multiply it by the times allowing for the vernal equinox on the Tropic of Kent, divided by the accelerated rotation of the Earth. Carry the one.
But Mouth,
All right.
still got some good points.
We're his reindeer.
Okay, so that's what was in the packages.
You know what I think that is?
And we get more Chuck and Bobby right here, so no complaints.
Wait a minute.
Isn't Bobby the same guy that was in that Ray Stevens video, Setting Up with the Dead?
But Uncle Fred just sat right up.
I love this next scene too because it's so damn stupid.
Santa, are you in there?
It's just so goofy and so earnest. And I don't mean E-A-R-N-E-S-T, it's E-R-N-E-S-T, earnest.
I've got your sack.
There is literally no reason for him to shove his face that hard into the glass to try to get a look inside to see if he's still in there. But it really is believable that Ernest thinks if he can get his eyes closer, he can see better. I believe that. Jim Varney's making me believe that. Now, seeking to prove what he says is true, Ernest gives Mouth a peek into the sack, again filling my brain with utter curiosity. Now, overwhelmed with fascination, he reaches inside. Classic Ernest. And then he pulls out... God, I thought it was like a high-tech version of the ball from Phantasm for a minute. That'd be a hell of a present. So that's how he fits all the gifts into the bag. Now, lacking the special touch, the gifts Ernest pulls from it are dud after dud after dud. And while all this is going on, poor Santa still can't catch a break.
My name is Santa Claus.
Probably because of his honesty.
Okay, we'll just go with John Doe.
I mean, yeah, you're Santa Claus, but you can't just go around willy-nilly expecting everybody to believe you when you just tell them.
This is a really horrible misunderstanding.
Hell, even I'm a little perturbed at his nonchalantness and willingness to just share this information with anybody, expecting everyone to just believe him and take his word for it. I mean, that's pretty old-fashioned, but then again, he did say he's 151 years old, so hell. Now, tossed into a cell with a bunch of other inmates, things are not looking good for him. And the next day is Christmas Eve, and Mouth and Ernest have just a bunch of back and forth about Santa. Ernest is still convinced he can find him and return the sack, and Mouth just naysays.
I'm not much of a morning person. You think we could just keep it down to a dull roar?
She just ruins the decent pace of this film.
You kill me.
I know Ernest needed someone to conflict with in this. I'm just saying, I don't think this girl, or maybe the character itself, was necessarily written in any way that I care about. There, I said it. I hate this character. I'm sorry.
You talk like you believe all this stuff.
Now, Chuck and Bobby finally figure out what they're dealing with,
Alien goats, all right.
while Santa's probably getting his ass kicked, right?
5 golden rings.
Wrong.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
It's like that one Simpsons episode with Dredrick Tatum just controlling everybody.
Hey guys, come on, shut up.
Now Ernest is still tracking him, now asking around at the museum, and he's in shock when he finds out that Santa is in jail. Mouth continues to ruin the pace of the movie, this time as she's greedily wishing for things from Santa's sack. Now Ernest interrupts her just before she reaches inside, and realizing that Santa's in big trouble, there's only one thing he can do in this situation.
Clement here, Master Clement.
Jim Varney doing what he did best, just hamming it up as one of his many characters. This time, however, Mouth accompanies him, posing as the governor's niece. Now, they claim to be from the governor's office, here to investigate the situation, making sure the prison's treating prisoners fairly and all that stuff. I'm gonna go and tell you now, this shit just ain't as funny as it was when I was a kid.
Now look here, I don't know
Is that S-P-I-N-K-S or S-P-E-N-K-S?
Oh my god, it is absolutely her.
Isn't she a doll?
It's that stupid accent. Now, the chief gives them a tour around the place, and in the holding cell, they find who they were looking for.
Who's the old man?
Now, since Ernest is in character here, which I find odd because Ernest is a character, so you got Jim Varney playing a character. Think about that.
Mr. Santos, how have you been treated since you've been here?
I know it's not as deep as I want to think it is, but it's still something.
My name is Santa Claus.
Excuse me?
Anyway, he starts arguing with the old man as to whether or not he's really Santa Claus.
My good man, you are not Santa Claus.
I tell you I am.
Oh, no.
I am too.
Oh, no.
And suddenly, the plan begins to make sense.
This man thinks he is Santa Claus, and you keep him in a cell with regular, ordinary, everyday, harmless criminals?
Now, Ernest is trying to make the officers believe the old man is mentally unstable, and with a little bit of unexpected help from the other prisoners,
He really is Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's right.
and Mouth all but killing the mood with her whininess,
Is this the way government really works?
plan comes to fruition without a hitch, pretty much. They just hand over Santa and don't think twice about it.
Move it, Pops.
Hey, see you, Santa.
Morons. Now, they don't even leave the damn parking lot before they start celebrating. And since Mouth still hasn't learned much of a lesson yet...
Chill out, will you?
Well, you haven't!
Get real.
Santa puts just about all her doubts about him to rest with a simple tug on her memories.
Oh, she's been this way since that Christmas when I brought her a doll instead of a baseball mitt.
Now here he lays out the basics of the gig. He took the job from some old German fellow.
With the passing of time, the magic fades.
And unfortunately, this Santa is already past the time since it's starting to fade. If he's not able to convince Joe by midnight tonight that he's the next Santa, then the magic of Christmas will forever be gone. What a tragedy.
That's why Joe Carruthers is so important.
Again, the situation is intense. So what does Ernest do in a situation like this?
These steps might as well be Mount Everest.
Look, it's up in the air whether or not you find this funny, I know. As a kid, though, it was freaking hilarious to me to see Ernest with his big old boobs hobbling around, with that damn walker wearing the neck brace.
Me, a lonely old woman forced to cope in a world of indifference.
Like I said earlier, while the lines he delivers may not necessarily make your side split, it's the way in which he delivered them, the seriousness in which he took these roles in an effort to make you laugh. Whether or not you laugh, you gotta admire the guy.
Having walked from the airport, I'll be dead soon.
I just think he took real pride in delivering the best performance that he possibly could in any situation. Now, either way, posing as his mother, Ernest cons the lady into telling him where Marty is. All the while outside, Santa and Mouth have some time alone for a little conflict of their own.
Your mother must be worried about you.
God, Santa's sticking his nose a little too deep into people's personal lives, if you ask me.
What?
Kinda creepy.
Well, you've been gone a month now. That's a long time for a girl your age to be on her own.
I get it, though. It's Santa seeing through her, seeing what made her her, understanding that she ran away because she wasn't feeling loved at home, and even if it's clumsy, he uses it in an attempt to entice her, to coax her into going back home to her worried parents.
You know, that is so funny. People do this to me all the time.
See, this would work if it wasn't her. Now, with all the information he needs, Ernest busts out just as Santa has her in deep thought at the things he said, and they commence to the next phase in the plan. Now, Joe, meanwhile, is in makeup, getting ready to do some test shoots and all that, but he expresses a little bit of doubt to Marty about something in the script.
Look, I was reading the script over, and I'm a little concerned about
what?
We don't even find out what it is because Marty's such a sleazeball and he never shuts the hell up. Now, Ernest drops Mouth off at his house, and he and Santa leave her in charge of the bag. Yeah.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
It's like the dumbest thing you could do.
See you later. We're gonna go find Joe at the studio.
I'm not sure if by this point in the film, the writers really thought that I would hope for the best to come out of her. I just hate her. Like, I just know she's gonna greed out and plunder that bag. There's no hope. I mean, hell, I guess I would too, so what the hell am I complaining about? Her. I'm complaining about her.
Call me cautious if you want to.
Yeah, and you know, it's been a while since we split up some of this drama with old Chuck and Bobby, so I wonder what they're up to.
But better safe than sorry.
Now, Ernest arrives at the studio playing yet another goofy character. Now, much like the old lady shtick, this really isn't that funny.
You're dead meat thick.
But it's not funny either. It's Jim Varney doing what he did best. Conning his way into the studio, he sets Santa free so he can look for Joe, whom he quickly locates on set shooting his first take. I think this entire scene is great, and it's going to be hard to summarize this and chop this up and edit it properly, so give me a break here. Santa is watching Joe on set in a Christmas movie, but we know, and Santa should know, but he doesn't, that it's a horror movie, right? He just watches Joe, who doesn't even know that Santa is there yet, struggle with this project, all because he's such a good-hearted guy. He can't say this simple phrase.
Die, you son of a... Son of a...
Son of a bitch. It's not that hard, Joe. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. I mean, I'm not that good of a person either, though, so. Either way, Santa makes himself known when he overhears the real intent behind the film. God, I guess I should have known earlier that he really would take at face value what he thought he heard the guy say the title of the film was. Christmas Sleigh. S-L-E-I-G-H. I mean, again, 151 years old. Dude's all innocent and shit.
I thought this motion picture was called Christmas Sleigh.
But the thing is, how did he not hear Ernest back at the gate when he said this?
Is this where the horror movie folk be?
151 years old. Whatever.
I own a sleigh.
None of that really matters because of the next scene being so damn hilarious.
Terrorizes children, did you say? What? Christmas? Whoa!
Oh my God, he just bops him like a little old man.
Whoa!
I mean, he had a meltdown over that. Now, Joe thinks he can put an end to it all if he just listens to what the poor old fella has to say, and Chuck and Bobby have their hands tied with the animal control officers they've called out there to help deal with their reindeer situation.
You guys say you have a problem with reindeer?
It's pretty funny because they're all smug about it, and we as an audience know there are reindeer up there, and they're in disbelief, and even Bobby and Chuck are just sitting over there kind of reveling in the moment and just... The movie's letting you sit on that moment, on that knowledge for a minute, hoping that it's going to pay off with a good laugh when they reveal it. So, does it? Kinda.
Oh, flying reindeer.
I don't know. It's kind of funny, but... Yeah, exactly. Now we cut back to Santa, who is deep into the specifics with Joe of what it takes to be Santa. More details than we need, really.
1,789,000,000.
Mouth. Yeah, she's an asshole.
Hey, you.
I'm still waiting for Santa.
This your truck?
Yep.
Ernest has his hands tied with what happens next. Oh God, no. Most appropriate Ernest reaction ever. End of story. Now Santa's still in talks with Joe, lays it on deeper than ever as he reveals he's been Santa so long that he has to keep notes now. He's forgetful, he's absent-minded, he's past the point that he should have retired basically. Mouth is just still being Mouth.
More kid stuff.
Even worse, she swaps the bags out. She constructs another bag and fills it with a bunch of crap, I guess, and is gonna let Ernest take the wrong one back to Santa. God, no wonder this movie didn't become a classic. This character's terrible. Look, at least with Home Alone, you liked Marv, you liked Harry. Even if they were nothing but bad guys, they entertained you, right? By the end of the film, you didn't really care if they learned a lesson or not. I'm sorry, but with Mouth over here, there's just nothing to really like and hope for. Now, Santa comes out convinced that Joe will heed his advice, but hell, we and even Joe himself seems to not know whether or not he will. Now, Santa lays out more details about when and where he must meet Joe, and Mouth is just busy trying to hide all the stupid shit she's pulled out of the sack and anywhere she can in the house, inside of lamps and behind furniture, you name it. Now, Ernest is clever enough, to his credit, to suspect that, yeah, she probably did something to that sack, so he suggests that Santa take a peek inside.
You better check it out.
And when he does, God, I may hate you, but you were smart. That was the smart thing to do. If you're gonna steal the damn bag, you don't swap it before they've had a chance to look in there, because they know you're probably up to some bullshit.
Would you put this in the pickup?
She swaps it out afterwards when she carries it out to the car for them.
Trust people.
I hate you, but you're smart. Now, moments after they are out of sight, she grabs the real bag she had previously concealed and is off to who knows where while Santa shows up at Joe's house intent on sealing the deal. Now, Joe finally starts to lose his patience. Understandably so.
How'd you find my house?
And Santa just continues to be unbelievably naive.
Look, it's feathers. It's just feathers.
I know it's feathers.
Now, Joe refuses the job, sending Santa on his way, while Mouth buys a ticket to Miami. But since it doesn't leave for a few hours, it gives her plenty of time to mope around the station and hopefully learn that lesson.
Are we gonna miss Santa?
No, honey.
Poor old Santa just gives up. He throws away that sack of feathers and he just Father Callahan's it right out of the story. Chuck and Bobby?
Bobby, see that right there? Right there, 50 left. Now.
Look, also, too, Santa's elves show up here.
The arrival of Eastern Airlines Flight 835.
They're hilarious. You just wait and see. Now, Ernest has now arrived at the warehouse with Chuck and Bobby, telling them that he needs to get his hands on these reindeer, but Ernest's name isn't on the form, so that's a problem.
First, let me ask you one question.
I guess we're gonna have to resort to another tactic. Oh God, please don't do another character.
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
Okay, good.
I knew that this question was going to come up.
Also, the elves are getting checked in at the airport by that same guy who checked in Santa earlier, and he's just seen so much at this point, he just doesn't even think twice about these IDs.
Please have your passports ready for inspection.
Why not? It's Christmas, ain't it?
That's good shit. Now, they too arrive at the warehouse, and revealing themselves to Chuck, Bobby, and Ernest, soon the three of them have the reindeer packed into a truck and are off to save Christmas. Yay!
Don't blow it, Elrod.
Oh, damn it, Elrod. He totally called him Elrod earlier. That was hilarious. Now, Santa, who has now wandered over to the Children's Museum after getting off the bus, is spotted by the little old lady from earlier who feels sorry for him, while Mouth is still just having the guilt shoved into her face.
Mama, how does Santa carry all his presents?
Ernest is just moping about.
Messed up Christmas for everybody.
Well, we know that's not true based on the title, so let's just wrap this up, honestly. How does Ernest save Christmas?
I've got it.
Oh, damn it.
Well, I see no need to beat around the bush.
Yeah, me neither.
We know why we're here.
Now, Joe is being offered a hefty contract, but he's unwilling to sign it until he covers some issues he has with the script.
You've been on a chump kid show in Orlando your whole life, and it got canceled, right?
Well, damn, that dude had but one scene, and he wrote it with passion.
You've been saying please and thank you so much. You've gotten the idea that that's the way things are. Well, get with it, man. This is the real world.
Gotta give him that. And we finally see Ernest's big idea.
And put your tray tables and seat backs in their full, upright, and locked positions.
Look, I have no idea where they got the sleigh from. I feel like I might have seen it earlier in the movie. Hell, I don't know. It doesn't matter. All I know is he's got all the reindeer hooked up, holding the reins, and doing his best to get them moving. Now, when air traffic control spots them and there's trouble abrew, the elves are the ones who really get things going.
Now Dasher! Now Dancer!
Man, the dashboard looks so cool. It reminds me of the bed and Problem Child. With Ernest struggling over the last reindeer's name, again, the elves end up saving the day.
Blister! Yeah, that's good. Blitzen!
Only to be nearly killed by his terrible grasp on the controls. But we still got time for a bit.
I need oxygen.
See, this is why I love Ernest. Now, in typical Ernest fashion, every knob, button, or lever he touches breaks off, further endangering them all, while Santa and the little old lady are having a little moment of their own. He spends it feeling bad for Mouth instead of himself, though, so maybe he really isn't that naive. He just genuinely thinks the best in everyone and doesn't want to know that most of us are monsters. Hell, I don't know. Now, in the midst of still arguing over the contract, Joe spots something outside of the window, which, when he takes that closer look at it,
Him.
it nods back to something that Santa had said to him in his house earlier.
There must be something that can convince you.
And it was here when Joe realizes that it's all true, and he's just filled with overwhelming happiness, realizing that he is Santa.
I'm him.
God, we really gotta wrap this up, I'm telling you.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
It's a race against the clock for the next few bits. Air traffic control is after Ernest. There's still room for a few silly bits like this, though.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
And unfortunately, some time left for Mouth to still learn a lesson.
There's no such thing as Santa Claus.
Oh boy.
There is a Santa Claus, and this is his magic sack.
So now she has to make her way back too and fix this mess.
If that's Santa's sack, why do you have it?
I mean, that's good, I guess. The more hilarity ensues with lengthy bits of Ernest and the elves zipping through the sky out of control. Mouth and Joe are both racing as fast as they can to the museum, I guess. All while Santa is just quietly still having his conversation with the poor old lady. When Mouth, having finally learned what Christmas is all about, returns the sack to its rightful owner.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I guess I care a little bit. Yeah, that's great.
I'm sorry.
Move it along.
I never doubted you'd do the right thing.
Nobody cares.
Really?
Okay, what the hell is Ernest up to?
I have lived my life in the fast lane. Know what I mean?
He's just being Ernest. Now, Joe arrives next, meeting the others, and with barely any time left on the clock, he takes the old man's hand. And when he does, something magical happens. Yeah, awesome 80s effects. Kick ass. Now, only one thing remains.
Where's the sleigh?
Oh man, if you guys only knew. Now, as a real test of his Santa powers, Joe makes it snow, which seems to have everyone in good spirits again, while Ernest has finally managed to get the sleigh stopped. Kinda safely.
Nobody moves. Nobody dies.
God, it's gonna be something stupid like a sneeze, isn't it? Of course it was. Now, plummeting back to Earth at breakneck speeds, Ernest stops the sleigh just in the nick of time.
Air brakes.
That is trailer material right there.
Ernest, well done.
That's about it, honestly. What more do you need? Ernest indeed saves Christmas. Ernest says goodbye to Mouth. Everyone wishes Joe well in his new job as Santa. Hell, old Santa looks like he might have the hookup back there in the background, too. Look at him, got his arm around the old lady. Poor old Ernest ain't got nobody. Look at him over there all sad and lonesome.
How about it, Ernest? Got a lot more seat time than I have.
I knew they'd come to their senses.
And there he is, pure old Ernest P. Worrell, man of confidence. Together, the three of them fly off into the night to keep the tradition alive.
So, are you doing anything tonight?
I knew it! I knew Santa was gonna hook up with her! Ugh. That's it! That's Ernest Saves Christmas! Wait, no it's not.
E-Bunny. F.
Okay, that's Ernest Saves Christmas. Pointless in the grand scheme of things, I know, but who the hell cares? This movie, damn it, this movie is not a classic because of that girl. That's my takeaway from it. There's just a lot of scenes with her in it where she is just annoying. I'm sorry. I don't think it's just me. I think the movie's good, but it's lacking something that Home Alone has, which is almost constant entertainment value. You know, there didn't seem to be a lot of dead spots, but in Home Alone, that is. So with this movie, it's not as rewatchable as I want it to be. The moments that Ernest is on screen are funny, and they're always going to take me back to my childhood and make me laugh and just love the man for who and what he was. But yeah, I still think this movie should be pressed again. I think it should be available for purchase around the holidays. But I don't know, maybe there's something going on with the rights or whatnot. Who the hell really cares? If you want to watch this movie bad enough, you'll find it. And I did a long time ago, and I finally watched it. Does it hold up? Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you this is a bad movie because it's not a bad movie. It's a dated movie, but it's a fucking Ernest movie. And the thing is, you know before you even press play whether or not you're going to like a Ernest movie. Otherwise, why the hell would you watch it? You get who the guy is in like a minute. You can just see one clip of him and understand everything and just say, there, that's Ernest. Was that funny to you? And if it is, then you'll like the movies. If it's not, you won't. Simple as that. But it's the goddamn holidays, and I enjoyed the shit out of watching Ernest Saves Christmas, and I'll do it again next year, even if I have problems with it. That's how good it is. Thanks for watching.